Welcome back, Rise Up Nation. We're happy to have you back here for another episode of Rise Up in Real Estate. We're in the middle of season 7. This recording is happening in August of 2025. You know, we're in coastal North and South Carolina, but I have a special guest here today. We are doing this little bit of discovery on what in the world. You know, this is a non-branded thing for me, but for these episodes, I'm branded. Like, I'm just going to tell you the story that's happening at REMAX right now. I'm calling it the Renaissance of REMAX, and I think we're awakening like an industry, the original disruptor. And I've got a guy here, one of 3 or 4, that are right in the saddle making these things happen. And I'm excited to find out what they are and how he plays into it. But I want you to welcome to the show today, Mr. Daniel Dennis. We appreciate you, Daniel. I don't even know where you are. Like, you're traveling all over the place. You've got a virtual background. I know you're not.
I don't know where I am, Ted. Some days. I mean, it was Washington, D.C. with you all at the Broker Owner Conference, and then it was Denver. I think it will be Denver next week, and then it will be Louisville, Kentucky, which is our Torchbearers group, which is our under 40 high performers. And so I got to act like I'm under 40. I got to start working out again or something.
Yeah, that's quite a group. We have 8 offices, but we have an agent. We have 3 different brands within our brand: REMAX Professionals, REMAX Essential, and REMAX Southern Shores under our umbrella. And we actually are proud to have one agent from each going to Torchbearers. So
awesome.
Really excited and proud of that. What a great event, man. So you're the Senior Vice President of Sales and Service for REMAX. Is that right? Did I get that title right?
I think that's correct. Yes.
That just means you work hard and a lot. That's all that means, right?
That's right.
So give me the little story about Daniel Dennis. Tell me your background, like where you're from. I know I was born in Dothan, Alabama. I grew up a Roll Tide fan.
Did you tell me that? I didn't know that.
I don't know. I know.
Jumped up about 12 notches in my book. Then
you just did a post a couple of days ago with a lady that was attached to some major brand. Who was this? Anheuser-Busch?
Anheuser-Busch, yes, she was she is on our board of directors, and she is from Phoenix City, Alabama, which a lot of your viewers may not know. You know, you don't talk like you're from Dothan as much as you could. I talk like I'm from Mobile or Dothan a lot more than you do.
Yeah, well, I talk a lot, so I've worked myself out of that accent. But was she an Auburn graduate? Are you an Auburn fan or an Alabama fan?
Yeah, I'm of course an Auburn fan, like all good Americans, and Teresa is a proud graduate of the Auburn University College of Business, like I am.
That's incredible. So my mom was an Auburn fan. My dad was an Alabama fan. I went to practices and watched Bear Bryant coach the team. Like, it was in my blood. Literally, I went to games and stuff. And then I married, believe it or not, Mandy, my wife, went to Clemson. So the last 10 years have been quite a battle in our household. Like, sure. I've been to all the national championship games. It has been rough.
Yeah. Well, it's really unbelievable what Dabo did, for that program. And I know they haven't been back there in a couple of years, but it was, Clemson went from something that we viewed as an afterthought to perennially being a force and having to deal with on a national stage.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good team, a good quarterback, and good team this year. It's going to be an interesting. I'm a huge college sports fan, so I can't wait. But where do you live now, Daniel? Tell me about yourself, your family, how you ended up where you are now.
Yeah, so an interesting story. I went to Auburn. I went to law school in another life. I thought I wanted to be a trial attorney, as a matter of fact, and I realized after my first summer of clerking that I would probably have a nervous breakdown if I had to read and write and argue with people the rest of my life. And so I kind of went on a different path. Started dating my wife when I was about 20 years old, and I would come home. We were living out in Orange Beach, Alabama, and I would come home, and he was his family was the owners, and his father was the founder of Roberts Brothers Real Estate in Mobile, Alabama. They had recently, this was about 2000, and this was around 2000. Well, probably prior to the sale, they eventually sold to Home Service of America in 2005. But we were living down in Orange Beach, Alabama, and I was, working at the marina or something. And then I think the next summer I was working at a law firm, and I was coming home and I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this the rest of my life? And he was coming home and it was around 2004, 2005. So the big boom was on, and he was having a blast, et cetera, et cetera. And we became very, very close. And eventually I went down to, lived in Miami, went to work for a developer in Atlanta, did some things after I went to law school and took the bar. Didn't want to work for my father-in-law. I ended up being the son-in-law. And my old boss, Mike Pappas, he said, I'm an SOB, I'm the son of a broker. And so I guess I'm the SILOB, the slob, the son-in-law of the broker. And so that's how I got into the real estate business. And my family and I, we've got my wife, Mary Beth, and I, we have 3 children, 16, 12, and a 5-year-old. If I can even believe it. And about 3.5 years ago, we got a call from a guy that owns a real estate company in South Florida, fantastic guy and mentor named Mike Pappas, and he asked me to come down and lead a company called Illustrated Properties here in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, between Jupiter and West Palm Beach. And so until 3 months ago, I was leading Illustrated Properties, doing exactly what you do every day. And, you just, it's a reminder that you don't know how the world's going to end up. As I said on the stage at VOC, you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen out there. You never know what's going to happen when you go to sales meeting, or you get up and you get dressed and you go talk to that person, or you show up at the office, or you do that one little thing that could lead to the other. And while I was at Illustrated Properties, I was in negotiations actually, with a guy named Chris Lim, who was the president of Christie's International Real Estate. We were a luxury company, and we were talking about furthering our Christie's affiliation, and we ended up going with Forbes Global and not partnering with Christie's, but the relationship was set. And with Chris Lim went to REMAX. He said, "Hey, I want you to go with me." And so 3 months ago, I started working remotely and working on airplanes and traveling to our headquarters in Denver. And I've had an absolute blast over the last 90 or so days.
90 days. I feel like you've been here. I was telling Chris this morning, I feel like I can't remember, and this is great for you because y'all been so productive. I don't remember a time when y'all weren't here. Like, I've already forgotten. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. I mean, because my prior life, I think my life was very, very different. Like I said, doing what you do every day, recruiting, retaining, building culture, getting people productive, trying to gobble up market share, trying to pay for market share, but not pay too much, leave a little bit in the margin can. And life is completely different as I transfer into a new role, which is to support you all, in addition to our other broker owners across the U.S. and across Canada and the rest of the world, as we try to take this REMAX global name and enhance it even further. It's a crazy market right now.
So how does your wife feel about this new job? Is she good with it? She like you being gone?
She was really, really excited. As she was when we decided to move to, we got the call to move to Florida. Had no idea we would ever do that. We weren't necessarily looking to do that, and it just turned out to be a perfect fit. Things have a way of working out. It's kind of strange. You don't always see it until till it hits you right in the face. But that was a perfect fit to do that at that particular time. And this is a perfect fit to be here at REMAX with you.
That's great. So I have had a little bit of interaction with Chris and Daniel and Travis, but mostly Daniel, just in some groups, kind of spitballing ideas. And from a broker owner's perspective, it's a new thing for us.
Yeah.
Like I don't think our opinion has been asked very often, and I appreciate it being asked. I know that's a huge thing. Like, sometimes you probably get what you don't want to get.
I'm used to and we used to talk about at Illustrated Properties. It's really an upside down pyramid. I think most companies operate like a pyramid where they make decisions and then they communicate out. We're really an upside down pyramid where we've tried to find out exactly what challenges, what opportunities we can help support our broker owners in on a day-to-day basis. And then we try to deploy our team, our resources, our tools, on a large scale at a public company, so we can go out and support them in their efforts.
Yeah, great. So Jennifer Lovett, that you know very well, actually said just in passing one day, I don't know if she knew the impact it had on me. I haven't told her, but she said, I really feel like, and her brokerage is going 45th anniversary this year or something like that. Birthday.
I believe they were the third, maybe the second. I think it may have been the third REMAX brokerage in the state of Florida, which is unbelievable.
Incredible. So 45 years. And she said she feels like, well, the whole purpose of today's few minutes is to talk about what she called, and I loved it, the Renaissance of REMAX. Like she and I don't think the word fits perfect, but if you talk about Renaissance, you're thinking about all the beautiful things of the past turning into the beautiful things of the present into the future. And I think that's exactly, from my perspective, what's happening. And I'm calling it like the awakening of the original disruptor. Yeah. Because I think Dave and Gail forged their path 52 years ago. They made a bold statement, struggled for 3 or 4 years, got it solidified. They were the original disruptor, and they've been disrupting all along. It has had 50 years of aging in the brokerage world. And now we have this new guy comes on the scene, Carl, who at first we were like, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's the right choice or not. Not a real estate guy, but we're going to try it, and we're going to be supportive. We're going to not talk when he can't. If he's not a great speaker, I'm not going to talk about it to my friends. I'm just going to support, right? So, and for 12 months, I think he did a lot of hard work. And he probably fought a lot of demons and a lot of naysayers, pushed the sleigh, that we talked about this morning, pushed the snowball up the hill for a long time. And what I feel like is happening now is finally has crested the hill. And you guys are here, and you guys have an opportunity to see. He's probably so proud that he now gets to benefit a tiny bit in the momentum that we're feeling because of all of his dedication for the past 12 months. I'm sure you have a lot of respect for him. Did you know him before?
So I did not know him before. I knew Chris Lim, and we had a saying at Illustrated Properties. We said that before you can have a dinner party and invite people to come to dinner, you've got to set the table first. And so what Eric did for a solid year was he set the table. And to a certain extent, you're always setting the table. Every time you do it for the first time, you're setting a precedent and a standard for how it's going to be done, how you're going to work, who you're going to bring into the company, what standards, what accountability protocols you're going to hold people to, the quality of your work, how your marketing is going to go, the amount of thoroughness and time and attention to detail on your events, and when you send something out to the network. And that's exactly what he's been doing. And so he's been slowly doing those foundational things in addition to building the team. And of course we had our broker owner conference, and we came out the door with a new fee model and different offerings and all kinds of different stuff. And we still got a zillion things that they're going to be coming over the next 12 months that we haven't even gotten to yet. And so it's really, really exciting. I'm kind of, you talk about, your journey and how did you end up here and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like I'm in, when you buy a company at it. We bought our number one competitor in Mobile, a lady named Mickey Russell, Dolphin Realty. They were our number one competitor. I mean, it was big news in our mid-sized market, et cetera, et cetera. And it was like, I always say that acquisitions are kind of like crack. I mean, it's all you think about. You can't sleep. You're so excited. You're doing all this work for, and I'm kind of in that same mode where it's like, it's hard to sleep because I'm so excited about what we're building. Because if you can take the legacy stuff, I mean, you're talking about a brand that is recognized, it's the most recognized, respected, and prolific brand on this planet. I mean, you couldn't go. I always think about Warren Buffett talking about, I think I'm butchering whatever it is. You can look it up on YouTube, but he talks about, if you gave me X amount of money, would I go and try to make something that would compete with the Snickers bar? Well, no, you're not going to. I would never try to do that. And so when you can combine something that people spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to build in terms of goodwill and reputation, and then you combine it with a new sense of energy, new technology, a new approach, an interest in absolutely clearing out all the noise and doing only the most important things, all those things that we're thinking about now that we have not thought about forever. We have a recipe that makes this at REMAX the number one opportunity in real estate. I had people all the time, because I was at a luxury company, South Florida, the highest price point in the country. He said, you're going to REMAX, it's national. What do you? I said, this is the absolute biggest opportunity in real estate because you have the brand, which you can't duplicate. You have the resources, and you got a CEO that absolutely, if I said, Eric, I need you to fly down to South Florida and stand on your head, it will mean that we'll win. He would absolutely do it. And so that type of all-inness, that's an Alabama word, probably a Dothan word. That type of all-inness is what I was not looking for, but it was there, and I was made aware of it through Chris Lim, and that's why I'm so excited. Can't sleep every day.
That's great. You both use the word. You and Chris both use the word opportunity. He said it the way you did. It's the biggest opportunity because he had a pretty good thing going too. By the way, both of you. It wasn't like y'all were rebounding because you'd been let go. I mean, it was like Eric went and found what he wanted. Chris went and found what he wanted, and we're proud to be that person. And when I hear you talking just now, it makes me think of a little old company named Blockbuster. And I don't know the whole story. I don't know any of the people. I tell my wife all the time, I would probably be the guy that owned the last Blockbuster. Like I'm not going to quit. I'm going to be that guy. But she says, don't say that to people because it makes you seem stupid because nobody would want to own the last Blockbuster. But Blockbuster had an opportunity from the way I understand the story when Netflix came on the scene, and they decided they were going to stay tried and true to their legacy, which was incredible, like ours is at REMAX. But what I appreciate about the way you tell the story is Dave and Gail have open hands, and they are like, let's watch this thing morph into, I mean, it is a renaissance. It's like all the beauty of the past gets to be the beauty of now and forever. And I think it's just so incredible to be a part of it. Like I'm more excited, and I get excited pretty easy, but I'm pretty excited about what's going on, and we're going to support you guys all the way through. So tell me what your role is specifically. Like what position do you play, and what are you tasked with every day?
So we obviously sell franchises. Okay. And we have a sales team that goes out and does that. And we try to identify people that would be a perfect match for us, given what we want to accomplish, our temperament, our culture, the way we treat people, the way we work, our standard, our attention to detail. Then we onboard. We have an onboarding team. So if you come in and you are, as you did at one point, you brought your company over, we have an onboarding team to make sure that your agents are taken care of, and that is as seamless as it possibly can be. And you retain all of your agents, not just retain them by keeping them, but retain them with a smile, right? And so we have an onboarding team. We have a service team. It's a team that takes care of companies like yours. So we have a team of we call them franchise performance consultants. And so when if you want to look at your P&L and say, how are my units per agent? How does it look compared to the rest of the network or the other companies that are doing well? What's my square footage per agent? What are my ideas? How can I retain? How can I make a change with somebody on my leadership team, which is a very difficult thing to do, and retain agents? How can I consolidate offices? How can I eliminate fat without the agents being impacted? A zillion different things that I obviously woke up every day and thought, ate, slept, and breathed every day. Those are the things that you all face every day. And so we have a service team that helps do that. We have an education team, a learning team that helps prepare our agents and our brokers for running the company or maximizing their sales business to achieve their goals on the ground. And then we have what we call global, which is global is we have a Canadian division, we have the U.S., and then we have global, and global is everything that's not the U.S. or Canada. And so overall, you're talking about 140,000 agents worldwide. And we want to bring, and this is not something we've launched or announced. This is probably an R4 type thing, but we're already starting to talk global. Chris, obviously being part of Christie's, he saw the benefits of being affiliated with a global brand and something that was recognized. He saw the benefits to his agents, his broker owners out there of being a part of something bigger than yourself. And whether you're in Wichita, Kansas, or Mobile, Alabama, or Manhattan, there is an advantage to being a part of what we are a part of. We're going to do a better job of communicating that global message and explain to our broker owners and to our prospects what that means. And so all those different aspects, bringing Chris and I on, it allowed the company to structure our departments in a way that we could control the experience, again, from the onboarding to the sales, the onboarding, the service, to the education, and of course the global companies as well.
So just a small job description, but you have a lot of passion for it. Like you were doing our job, and I guess now the way you look at it is you get to support us.
Yeah,
you probably longed for that kind of support. If you were getting it, but you probably needed and wanted things, and now you know it. Now you know how to do it.
Well, I was sitting there. So, Chad, I was sitting, and of course, I ran a company since I was 30 years old, and so you can possibly make. Made a few good decisions along the way too, but I was sitting there with one of our franchise performance consultants, a guy named Gary Blackard, and he was talking about something that he had done with one of his owners, where he was doing an analysis of square footage per agent, and how did it compare to other top performing companies, what their bottom lines were as compared to his bottom line, and they were brainstorming all these things, and I had this thought. I had kind of so I ran a company, but it wasn't an academic approach. I just did it because I knew, I learned to understand all of those things and how to influence those things. But I don't know if I articulated it like he was doing it, or did it deliberately like he was suggesting that he was doing for his owners out there. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I'd have had you, I would have been talking to you all the time, because if you can combine that realistic school of hard knocks with a little academia, and he's worked in a real estate company. It's not just academia, but some formal training. Then you really get a recipe for being as good as you can possibly be. And there's never been a better time where we need to be as good as we can possibly be. I mean, our margins are, I don't have to tell you this, but our margins are like this right now. If you're running a company and you got agents that are beating you up for commission splits, and you got all the expenses, et cetera, and it is it's really, really difficult to continue to invest back in the agents with the margins that we're getting. And of course your agents and your buyers and sellers would be bewildered if they saw your P&L. And that's for any real estate company in the United States, because all they see is signage and branding and gross commission dollars coming in the door. So we want to be there for our owners and help them and support them as they fight the good fight every day, which is a heck of a fight.
Yeah. How many do you have on your team, Daniel? Do you know right off?
I think we've got 88. Yeah. Between education, sales, global education, global learning, onboarding, etc.
And I heard a rumor. Maybe it's not a rumor. Maybe it's legit. I think actually it might have been Travis that said this, but there's a callback to the momentum curriculum in education. I'm excited about that. We've done only that for 13 or 14 years. So if you needed any, I was talking to Bob Koch about this yesterday. I think if y'all need any advocacy for it, or any, hey, how did it go? David Scott's been my personal coach for 10 years. So we'd love to be a part of that.
It's interesting. It's a whole conversation as to where it went. But I was on a call 20 minutes before we got here, and the pieces are coming together to relaunch Momentum. Maybe we call it something different. We can call it whatever you all want. But the point is that we have exactly what I'm talking about. We have a formalized program that if you do these things, it's a playbook. If you do these things, you will have a better company and run a better company, more efficient, more profitable than you did yesterday. And there's no bigger area of value that we can provide to our owners.
It's interesting that when I took the original very first class in Momentum, and this was literally about 13 or 14 years ago, we, my wife and I, because we started in 2007, we basically tore down the walls of the infrastructure of our company. We rebuilt it. It was hard. Rebuilt it according to the Momentum, almost word for word, because we just fell in love with the concepts, the ecosystem. But what you just said, my coach, David, often says to me, almost word for word what you just said, if you do these things, he says this and people laugh at him. If you do these things according to an appropriate business plan, complete and appropriate business plan, your success is inevitable.
Yeah.
And our success is sustainable profits.
Yep. Yep.
Now, the challenge is taking Mandy and myself. We were number one market share, doing what we thought was fine, but we weren't very profitable. We had to tear it all the way down to the bare bones, like rebuilding the home, but I'm excited about that. I would love to help any way that I can with that. I'll just put that out there.
Well, I appreciate it. We'll put you on the demo team and, kind of get your thoughts on, on how to make it as good as it possibly can be. And then make sure that we create adoption throughout the, network.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's you spend a lot of time talking to, there's a lot of broker owners, right? A lot of different levels, a lot of different intentions at the level that we're at. Some people like you and me are passionate. Like this isn't a hobby. My life savings is here. This is.
I hadn't figured out how to do it as a hobby. I think you get run over really quickly if that happens.
Yes. Tell me what your superpower is, Daniel. If you had to narrow down one, and you can think about it and tell me later on, a few minutes later, but what are you really good at? And people don't love talking about this, but what's your superpower, your secret that you bring to the team?
This is the kind of question, Tad, that you're supposed to send out like before, so I'll have time to think about it, But
I never do that.
We didn't have
whatever you thought of, Dennis. Whatever, Daniel. Whatever popped in your mind. And I call you Dennis because Tom Maynard calls you Dennis. Like
everybody does. Yeah, I'm used to it. Is that
I don't like that. I want to call you Daniel because that's your first name. But whatever you thought of is what it is. So just tell me what it is.
Well, it's not helping our Auburn football team identify quarterbacks or figure out how to recruit offensive linemen over the last 5 years. But we're working on that. And if I had a superpower with regard to that, then that would be great. What I'll give you is not necessarily a superpower, but it is maybe an approach to life and business, which is the same to me. I don't think that there is any line between personal and business. Okay. You hear people say, "Oh, well, that's just business." Well, we always advocated a culture in our companies that, number one, invest in people professionally, but also personally. That's how we define culture. And we always said that, if we can make you a better mom, better husband, better wife, better spouse, by the way, sell more houses, then that was our highest and best use. And that was our mission for doing everything that we do, and getting up really early in the morning and working really late to do. But I would say that, not having listen, if you do the right thing, if your default, when you don't know what to do, and this is what we think about, when you don't know what to do and you don't, when I was in your shoes, it became 20 times a day. And then over the years, it became 5 times a day. And then maybe it was once a day. And then every other day, there was a situation where I didn't know exactly what to do, whether it would be a buyer, a seller, somebody's threatening you with a lawsuit, an agent that's coming, an agent that's going, you got a vendor, if you just do the right thing and take care of the person first, then the score will take care of itself. We'll sell plenty of houses. We'll recruit plenty of great agents. But have as your default rule, just take care of the person, and everything else will fall in line. That's the approach that I don't know if it's a superpower, but it's certainly a perspective that I'd like to and intend to carry over to the headquarters in Denver.
No, I appreciate that. And it seems like that's I don't know, is that a Southern thing, Daniel? Because when I was talking to Chris, and Chris from San Francisco, like he's a super personal, like heart leading guy. Like that's what I got from the 30 minutes we spent together. Yeah. But I appreciate that perspective, and I hope that you can continue.
Well, this is a heart business. I mean, you look at, if you wrote out on paper what you do for an agent or what you do for a buyer and seller, and everybody was submitting things on paper, it's almost become commoditized if you view it from the standpoint of an item on a list that you're selling and charging for. But this is a heart business, and I had the opportunity to grow up in Home Service of America, which is Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway's wholly owned company. We were all independents, and like I said, I was with Roberts Brothers, and I got to be around these incredible mentors and people that started these real estate companies and led these real estate companies all over the country. And they were, they understood their metrics, they understood their P&L, they did all these different things. They were their business acumen was very high, but what was more high than anything else was their interest in people. And a guy from Louisville, Kentucky, who ran Simmon & Realty, one of the greatest guys to ever live and the greatest leaders. He's not dead either. He's Brad DeVries. He's a fantastic guy. And what he used to tell us all the time was, weddings are optional, funerals are mandatory. And that's the way he treated his agents. As he, you all are out there and you're building that village, and you're holding that village together as your broker, as the broker, as the friend, as the boss, as the agent, as the, as all these different parts, therapist, my gosh, marriage therapist, my God, we could write a book of all the crazy stuff that goes on. But as we do all those things, if you're people first, meaning your default is take care of the person first, then the score will take care of itself.
Yeah, I love that. We could talk about that forever. I mean, that's kind of our philosophy here, and I appreciate you saying that's the drumbeat you march to. Tell me what, if I'm looking at this Renaissance, as a broker owner, I want you to talk, because I think our listeners will be primarily broker owners, agents in the marketplace. As a broker owner, can you give me a little bit of advice as to maybe two things you would say you guys definitely need to do this in order to keep up with this? Because y'all are Travis said it, y'all are running, your pace of play is fast, and we love it. Yep. But how can I stay up to date the best? Give me some advice.
Woo! How long we got?
Just two things, man. Just two things.
The new fee model that we talked about, which is probably beyond the scope of this show right here, but it's really exciting. Is a big part of that. The second thing I would say is we need to unleash the secrets. That global message that I was talking about, that financial security and that interest in doing whatever it takes and thinking about things differently and providing what the message and the vision, this just kind of came out at BOC a couple weeks ago. We haven't formalized this yet, but it just kind of came out because it summarized what we were working on. But we want to be the most supportive real estate network in the world, okay, that's powered by a team of people first individuals that help our owners win listings, save time, build culture, and be more profitable. And so I said a lot of different things right there. The first thing I said was supportive, and we kind of talked about that, our identity as franchise performance consultant. We don't have a good day unless we help you recruit, retain, build culture, be more productive, right? The second thing I said was I talked about the global aspect in the world. That global message, as I talked about earlier, is of tremendous value. I don't care if you're in Mobile, Alabama, you're in South Florida, or you're in San Francisco. A global message and being a part of something bigger and more recognized than yourself is absolutely critical. And going out and helping our owners win listings. I said this at BOC. It's funny because everything is changing, but then there's a few things that it's just not changing. The cornerstone of this business continues to be listings. I don't care if you're in a 50-50 market where a buy side is paid the same amount as a list side. Having that sign in the yard, especially with a red sold on it, you can go buy Zillow leads, you can buy whatever it is you want to buy, you can take out ads, billboards. There's nothing more powerful than that. And so win listings, save time, which keeps you in it for the long term, and then be more profitable so you can go and reinvest back into your people and back into your agents, and whether it's through ancillary services, et cetera. That's what we want to help our owners do. That's our identity. I will tell you something else. So Eric is, as we talked about Eric, he's really, really a smart dude. Like, no offense to us real estate guys and, kind of dummies, and, we can talk and we can do all these different things. I realized in about 3 hours after I walked in the building why he's there. He's not constrained by all those things that we kind of grew up with. And, we kind of grew up in the business where we have chains. We try to think of the only way to make more money, the only way to do more, the only way to help our agents is to sell more houses. Well, you got to do that. There's no doubt about that. But when you have an audience of 140,000 agents and the most respected and prolific brand in the world, there are other ways to increase revenue, which of course it's exactly what we need, so we can reinvest back in to our agents, into our offices, and all the things that that keep the engine going. And I think his background and his insight into that will be a huge category. And I don't see another real estate network in this country doing it.
Not even.
I'm
Really
being
vague.
a little bit vague, but but you know, there is something key there. And I'm not talking about mortgage, title, insurance. We know that. That's the, you know, that's the popcorn, that's the concessions. Selling the house is just getting the movie ticket and walking in the door. There are other ways in this business. When we have the brand that we do, we have the audience, and we have the name recognition that we can pass along to our brokers.
I just heard you say we're going to sell cars, and I love it.
We're not going to sell cars. I can promise you that.
You know,
I'm not selling cars.
No, you just had the same look on your face. This has been so good for me. I don't know what anybody else is going to get out of this, but to hear the three of you talk about Eric and how he's not real estate trained. He's CEO top 200 Forbes trained.
Yep.
Is a difference maker. And that was actually when he was first hired, Daniel, everybody had a problem with it. We were like, he's not a real estate guy. Well, guess what? Maybe that's not what we needed, maybe at the end of the day.
I don't know that there's other global brands that have done what we've done here.
Right.
Somebody on Mr. Liniger and somebody on the board of directors, took a risk, and it's going to pay off big for him.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And I hope that Eric gets the credit he deserves. I know he doesn't need credit. I mean, he's successful, he's secure, he's smart, but he needs a pat on the back because he's fought a lot of battles when a lot of us were not on his team. And I'm embarrassed to say that I was part of that group. You know, we all were. But I'm happy for him. I'm excited to be.
I'll pass that along. That'll mean a lot to him coming from you. And I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we have got your back. So what would you say? I'm just going to ask you to pontificate for one more minute about what's next in real estate from your perspective. I don't care if you tell me the rates are going to go down. I mean, Buffini did his bold predictions with Michael Thorne yesterday. I love both of those guys, or 2 days ago. I'm not asking you to do that because who knows what's happening. But where do you think this brand, this industry is headed forward from here? Are you optimistic? Are you moderate? Are you pessimistic? Shoot it straight with me.
So if you are a student of history, which I guess I seem to be, not just real estate history, but all kinds of history.
Yeah.
There were times when maybe we thought that our value in terms of being full service, meaning offering a brand, offering some bricks and mortar, like a place to go, right? Offering education, offering support, sometimes just being there so we can bitch and moan and complain and say, can you believe we're going through this together? A network, a community, a journey to go through the battle of life and business and everything else together. On paper, if you were at some public company, not this public company, but some other one, and somebody didn't know anything about real estate or didn't know anything about people, they would have a hard time, saying that is of tangible value that you could charge for. I am convinced right now that there has never been a time, including the 1990s and early 2000s and prior to when you had to come into the office and you had to actually print on a printer, et cetera, et cetera. I'm convinced that there has never been a time when what we did as the owners and as the realtors to the customers has been more important. Now, the challenge is, of course, how do you monetize it? Can you make enough to continue on doing it and get beat up for it from the buyers and sellers, get beat up from the agents, et cetera, et cetera. That's the tricky part. And so I don't have all the silver bullets, but I think that it has something to do with, there's a guy named Jesse Cole. You're in South Carolina, so you know where Savannah is. You've heard of the Savannah Bananas, I'm assuming.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they went in, and anybody that's watching this, they need to go on YouTube and watch Jesse with the Savannah Bananas. But they have a minor league baseball team. I don't even think it's minor league. I think it's like Division 12 or something, And I think the traditional business notion was, well, we need to play great baseball so that we can get people to buy my $5 tickets and buy popcorn and buy a beer, et cetera, et cetera. And he kind of went in there and said, you know what? If we think that the baseball is going to be compelling enough to get people to come here, I think we're whistling Dixie, right? Let's look at it like, what business are we really in? Well, we're in the entertainment business, and they've turned into the Harlem Globetrotters. If you have any millennials or young people, they won't even know who I'm talking about, but they've turned into the Harlem Globetrotters of minor league baseball, where it's all about fun and it's all about unreasonable hospitality and fans first and doing all the things that the great companies do. If you do all those things and you take care of people, the score will take care of itself, as I said before. But I think the answer in our industry lies in, what business are you really in? You think you're in the business of buying houses, listing houses. You think you're in the business of providing a license, a desk for an agent or whatever, or some tools. What business are you really in? I don't know what the end result will be, but I think the final answer will be something in that particular conversation.
Have you guys? Do you feel like we're on to it at REMAX?
I do, because I think that when we talk about making revenue so we can reinvest back in our companies through other means other than ancillary services and selling houses, yes, that's the most transformational idea. Now, how you actually do that, you surround yourself, like Eric has done, with smart people that may not come from the real estate business. When I think about doing more, I think about, let's get more listings, and you got to do that. Let's do all that. But he thinks about, while we're doing those things and getting them in the door, he's thinking about increasing margins so that we can go out and we can do more with what we've got.
Yeah. Excellent point. If you guys, the listeners here, haven't listened to Jesse Cole's podcast, he's the guy in the yellow tuxedo. They started if you read the whole story, it's incredible. We follow them very closely because we're so close, and you can't get tickets, but they just sold out the Red Sox Stadium. They sold out Clemson Tigers Stadium, 80,000 people 2 nights in a row. The Carolina Panthers Stadium. He's had people beg that let him buy it, and just he and his wife say no. And he is so passionately committed to what's best for the consumer. It's just so crystal clear. He makes Chick-fil-A look mediocre, and you don't make Chick-fil-A look mediocre. It's about the same, right? He's the Chick-fil-A of baseball. The way they do things, but they do something called plussing. If you've listened to his strategy.
I didn't know that. Plussing. Tell me that.
Yeah. So what they do after every single game is has a group of 10 people on his staff, and they walk around and they talk about what just happened. And now the first time you do this, it makes sense. But if you do it every night, you get to you start thinking about things like, I don't know if you know this, but if a fan in the stadium catches a ball, the batter's out.
Yep.
That's an out.
Yep.
And if they get enough outfielders or infielders to catch the ball while they're doing a flip, it gives them points. It's all a time thing. So they walk around at the end of the game and go, what went well? How can we plus this experience? What can we do? I ordered a hat. I saw some kids at Starbucks one day, high school kids, and they had I'd never heard of them 3 or 4 years ago. Had Savannah Bananas hat on. I said, where'd you get that? That was pretty cool. And they go, have you never heard? These were high school kids, obsessed. So I ordered a hat. The hat came in the mail. I got a jersey too. The box smelled like bananas. When I opened it, they had scratch and sniff tissue paper in the box. Next level. That's what they do. They're trying to figure out, how can you do a little bit more? And you've been in luxury. Listen, I've seen some of the houses that you guys list and sell. That's what you have to do at a certain level. But can we do it as a network? Could we be that at REMAX?
You absolutely can, because and what you're talking about is a mindset that I said on stage at BOC. Attention to detail happens by design. It doesn't happen by default, and it doesn't happen because you're listing a $20 million house, or it doesn't happen in his world because you've got the '90s Braves versus the 90s Yankees out there playing. He's got players that couldn't make it. Luxury, and this is the biggest message that we are passing along, Chris and I, to our support team, service teams, and sales and education. luxury is not a price point. Luxury is a standard of service, and we can do the same thing. So making that attention to detail, that Ritz-Carlton level service, it didn't really cost them a whole lot of money to have a scratch and sniff sticker in that paper thing to make it smell like bananas. But what it did was it created an impression on you that will probably be an impression that you repeat over and over and over again. And it costs very, very little. I think in the real estate industry, we have a lot of blinders in this industry. A lot. This is like a 7-beer conversation, okay? Yeah. But one of the biggest blinders that we have is we think of luxury as something that we provide to a $10 million home, or a five. If I'm in Mobile, it's $2 million. If I'm down here in Palm Beach, it's $20 million. But it doesn't really matter. That was one of the things I was like, man, I get this call to move down from Mobile to Palm Beach. I've never been in a $30 million house. How is it going to be different? Well, the difference is I didn't know it, but we were a luxury company in Mobile, Alabama, because it was a standard of service. Even though we were selling $1-2 million homes on the top end, and a lot that are less than that, we were still a luxury company, and we were providing the same services that we offer to our $20 million clients down here on Jupiter Island.
And that's probably why you got the call, because you were doing that at the $1 or $2 million level. What you said, luxury is not a price point; it's a what?
Standard of service.
Okay. I'm going to write that down. I am going to have you back on the show, because I think we could do a show on the blinders of real estate.
It's a lot of them. We are in a very unsophisticated industry. Eric has made us all realize that, and it's really, really fun when you have a whole conversation. We should do that.
Yeah, he is. So one of the things I've been talking about, and we'll go after this, is I'm ready for us to have a voice again at these nonsense places like Inman, Riz Media. I didn't say nonsense. I said those places like those. And I'm proud that he finally got a little bit of a voice, and they're listening a little bit, because I believe when he finally if they give him a fair shot, I think the things he talks about are different. It's not the same old.
They're different, but they're also what I told him personally is that, and Chris told him this as well. What we appreciate is when he gets up every day, he doesn't think about getting into the fray of some nonsensical MLS conversation and battle out there. When he wakes up every day, he thinks about, okay, how can we bring on better franchises? How can we support our broker owners? How can we provide elite marketing? How can we provide elite technology so they can go out and they can, again, win listings, save time, and be more profitable?
That's awesome. You guys use the same terminology. It's clearly a drum beat that you're following. And I want to just tell you, from our perspective, we're proud to have you. I really appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk to me and kind of open up your playbook. I can't wait to see where we go next. We have a lot of energy and a lot of excitement about what's going on with the brand, and we want to support it full tilt. So,
well, you are part of the core of this company, and we don't make a decision without you. And I can't thank you enough for the representation that you set. There's a ninja selling term that says your vibe attracts your tribe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. And so when we have the vibe of people that do the right thing, no matter who's looking, work hard, represent themselves, their family, their local network, their community in the highest manner possible, what it does is it penetrates outward, and you start being a magnet to similarly situated and like-minded people with that type of character. And we really, really are grateful for everything that you do for the REMAX network.
That's awesome. Rise Up Nation, say thank you to Mr. Daniel Dennis. Daniel, thanks. I look forward to running into you real soon. I can't wait till you tell me in a few minutes who the band is for R4. No one spilled the beans. Don't tell me. Tom Maynard will kill me.
Okay. All right. Okay. I may not know. I have to think about it. There was a conversation. I don't know where we landed. I think I do know. Maybe.
Chris said he knew, and Tom Maynard, literally, because Chris was in Denver, Tom Maynard almost came through the screen and said, "Don't you dare." So
what I didn't know is that how big of a deal that was. I mean, I had people, like 5 people, ask me. I was like, I don't know. I mean, why is it a big? It was a big deal, and so we need to get that word out to you.
Well, that's all. A lot of people go to Broker Owner Conference only for that. This year, you guys brought content. You actually brought content and energy and growth and all that. But usually, my phone was blowing up. I wasn't even at BOC this year. My phone was blowing up with agents going, "Who's the band? Who's the band?" Because they knew that's why we were going. But thanks very much for being there. I appreciate you.
They better be good then.
Yeah, they better be real good. I can't. It's going to be country, and I can't wait because I'm from the South. But thanks, Daniel. Rise Up
Thank
Nation.
you.
We'll see you around soon. Thanks for being here. Have a great afternoon.